everyone, welcome back to HEOR Insights. In today's video, we are diving into a really important concept in health economics, budget impact analysis or BIA. If you have ever wondered how healthcare systems assess whether they can afford a new treatment, that's exactly where BIA helps answer. So let's understand what it is, how it works, and why it matters in real-world decision making. Let us start with the basics. A budget impact analysis estimates the financial consequences of introducing a new health technology or intervention within a specific healthcare context. In simple terms, it helps us understand how much a new treatment will cost the healthcare system over a short period of time. Nowadays, many countries require BIA along with cost-effectiveness analysis, especially when pharma companies submit their products for reimbursement or formulary listing. So while a CEA tells us if a technology gives value for money, the BIA tells us whether the healthcare system can actually afford it right now. Now that we know what BIA is, let's look at why it's important. It is an essential tool for payers and policy makers. It supports decision making and helps allocate resources wisely. It answers a critical question: can we afford to adopt this new treatment within our current budget? By doing so, it ensures that new technologies can be introduced without exceeding available funds. Essentially, BIA helps healthcare systems plan for short-term financial stability, making sure that innovation is sustainable and doesn't strain the system. Moving on, let's talk about how BIA is done. To estimate the financial impact, BIA used different model structures, mainly decision trees and Markov models. Decision trees are used when the treatment pathway is short and simple, for example, an acute condition. Markov model are used when we are dealing with chronic diseases, where patients move between health states over time. These models stimulate different treatment strategies and forecast how cost and patient outcome might change once a new therapy is introduced. Now, let's look at the time frame BIA uses. Unlike cost effectiveness analysis that often take a lifetime perspective, BIA usually focuses on a shorter horizon, around 3 to 5 years. This is because healthcare budgets are typically planned for shorter financial cycles, and the analysis is almost always done from the payer's perspective, meaning it looks at direct cost like drug acquisition, administration, monitoring, and hospitalization. So the goal here isn't to measure long-term value, it is to check short-term financial feasibility. Now moving on to important concept, the open cohort model. Most BIA use this type of model because it reflects real-world healthcare system, where new patients are constantly entering treatment each year. This open structure allows the model to account for the dynamic nature of healthcare population, new diagnosis, new treatment starts, and changes in disease patterns. Of course, this makes the model a bit more complex because it has to consider factors like incidence, prevalence, subgroups, and market share changes, but it also makes the result much more realistic. Alright, so what kind of data does a BIA actually need? A lot. It requires information such as the number of eligible patients, incidence and prevalence rates, epidemiology of subgroups, and the current and forecasted market share of treatments. On top of that, we also need uptake rates and cost data like how much each treatment costs to administer or monitor. And finally, forecasting techniques are used to project these figures over time, usually the next 3 to 5 years. All of this ensures the BIA give a realistic picture of financial impact. Now let's look at how BIA are actually structured for comparison. A typical BIA compares two main scenarios: the current or status quo situation within the new technology, and the second one is a future scenario where the new technology has been introduced. Then the model calculates how these changes affect the budget in terms of drug cost, administration, monitoring, and hospitalization. Unlike a cost effectiveness analysis that might just compare one treatment versus another, BIA often considers a mix of treatments, just like what happens in real clinical practice. This helps us understand the real-world budget impact more accurately. Now to wrap things up, why does BIA matter so much? First, affordability. It helps determine whether a new patient fits within the healthcare system's short-term budget. Second, sustainability. It ensures that patient can continue to access new drugs without compromising financial stability. And third, practical decision making. It provides payers with clear insight into patient uptake, treatment utilization, and overall resource need, enabling better forecasting and budget allocation. In short, BIA bridges the gap between clinical value and financial reality, making sure innovation is not only effective but also affordable. And that's all for this. Uh, Thanks, and we will meet in the next video.